Solve the polynomial inequality and graph the solution set on a real number line. Express the solution set in interval notation. The inequality we're working with is x squared less than or equal to 8x minus 13. So we're going to start off by rewriting the inequality with 0 on one side. So if we move all the terms to the same side, we'll have x squared minus 8x plus 13 is less than or equal to 0. Then we need to identify what the boundary points are, and we're going to find the boundary points by solving the equation x squared minus 8x plus 13 equals 0. So I'll try to factor this. Let's see if the factors of 13 and 1 don't add up to be the middle term with an 8, so it doesn't look like we're going to be able to factor. So instead, I'll solve using the quadratic formula. So A is equal to 1, B is equal to negative 8, and C is equal to 13. And the quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I'll substitute a, b, and c into the formula, and that'll give negative b plus or minus the square root of negative 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times 13 all over 2 times 1. I'll start to simplify this. The double negative will become positive, so a positive 8 plus or minus the square root of 64 minus, I need to know what 13 times 4 is, that's going to be 52 over 2. And we have 8 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 52, 64 minus 52, and that would be 12. And let's see, I can simplify underneath the radical. 12 is 4 times 3, and I'll continue up here. The square root of 4 is 2, so I have 2 square root of 3 over 2, and we can divide that 2 into both of those terms to get 4 plus or minus square root of 3. So our boundary points are going to be 4 plus square root of 3 and 4 minus square root of 3. So I'm going to mark this on the number line. And 4 minus square root of 3 will be less than 4 plus square root of 3. I'm going to go ahead and mark my boundary points with filled in dots because my inequality has an equal to in it, so I know these boundary points will be included in the solution set. That's 4 minus square root of 3 and 4 plus square root of 3. And we need to test each one of these intervals to determine whether it's a solution to this inequality with less than or equal to 0. So I'm going to test points into the expression x squared minus 8x plus 13 to see whether they come out positive or negative. So to figure out what my test points are going to be, I want to figure out what 4 minus square root of 3 is. So let me grab my calculator. And it's going to take a moment to load. And while it loads, I can go ahead and test in between these two. Let's see. So the number 4 should be in between 4 minus square root of 3 and 4 plus square root of 3. So I can go ahead and test that point. And I'm testing it in the expression x squared minus 8x plus 13. Okay, my calculator loaded. So 4 minus square root of 3 is going to equal 2.3, and 4 plus square root of 3 is 5.7, so 2.2 and 5.7. That's going to help me identify my test points. So as I said, I'm going to test 4 into this expression, x squared, that's 4 squared minus 8 times 4 plus 13, and that works out to be 16 minus 32 plus 13. 16 minus 32 is a negative 16 plus 13, and that will equal negative 3. So my test point came out negative in this interval. So then I'll use 0 as a test point in this interval on the left. So if I test 0 into x squared minus 8x plus 13, that's 0 squared minus 8 times 0 plus 13, and that works out to be 13. So my test point came out positive in that interval. And then finally, let's test, say, 6. And we have 6 squared minus 8 times 6 plus 13. 6 squared is 36. 8 times 6 would be 48. 36 minus 48, that is negative 12. And negative 12 plus 13 is a positive 1, so we get positive in this interval. Now the inequality that we have is less than or equal to 0. Negatives are less than or equal to 0, so we're going to use this middle interval as our solution set. So in interval notation, I'm going to use brackets to include the boundaries. And our interval starts at 4 minus square root of 3 and ends at 4 plus square root of 3. Thank you for checking out my videos. Have a great day.